Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. And in today's episode, a while back, I did this YouTube video where I talked on, I believe it was Elite Dangerous, X4 Foundations, and it might have been Star Citizen. Yeah, it was Star Citizen. But I am going to mention a newer game. Well, it ain't really newer, but it was a game that I had played more of than the other games, but after I had did that video. But no, yeah, I will be talking on the video game No Man's Sky. But I did want to talk on that video because there was a comment that I did get where somebody was saying that I butchered the reviews of those three games, X4 Foundations, Elite Dangerous, and Star Citizen. And what I'm trying to piece together is, what did I say differently than what anybody else has said about that game? And I think that's what people like to do a lot of the times. They like to find the one opinion where it matches with everybody else, but it's not viewed like, I guess, like how it would be viewed if the first person to say that, you know, how everybody ran with what Star Citizen, what their issue is, where the game is riddled with a lot of different bugs, or with the situation with Elite Dangerous, where it's a very confusing game, or X4 Foundations, where pretty much the same thing. It's a very confusing game, and I played all of those games. I put hours into those games, and that's one thing that I could say that it hasn't really changed from when the last time I talked about those games, is that, yeah, X4 Foundations is confusing. My thing is this: to have it where you spend more hours in the tutorial section trying to figure out everything that you need to figure out with that game, rather than sitting down and actually playing the game, that tells me where it's like, I guess I'm trying to compare it to other games that are not space games, but yeah, there's been times where I played racing simulators, like Gran Turismo, if I could say, for an example. That's a game where I'll have to say it's probably one of the most deep in-depth racing simulators out there, but at the same time, they don't have it set up where you gotta go through, I think they do have like that license section, but it's like, my thing is this: I'm going based off of the other space games that I played, right? Now, there shouldn't be that much of a difference with with space games, but that's one thing that I'll say, is that if you play Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, and No Man's Sky, and you think you're going to get that same experience that you had with those games in X4 Foundations, you're not. X4 Foundations is definitely one of those games where it's like, nah, bruh, and the crazy thing about it is that, yeah, people would say Star Citizen is a confusing game. I bet right now I could go and start that game back up, would not be able to forget. It's one of those things where it's like everything will kind of gradually start coming back to mind when I play that game. Same with Elite Dangerous. Yeah, Elite Dangerous might have been a somewhat confusing game, but eventually I figured it out. And I didn't need to play no tutorial. I just think that because the game lacked a tutorial. They didn't really explain a whole lot on the gameplay and stuff, but eventually you can figure it out. And then No Man's Sky, yeah, that's a game where it's like it has like a tutorial that never really, it's the tutorials embedded with the game. So like every time when you do a mission, they're all like, hey, you need to go find this material, you could do that. Hey, you need to travel to this place, you could do that. But it's not something where it's like, oh, figure it out on your own. No, every time when you start that game up and play it, it's always the same thing. Why can't X4 Foundations be the same way? So that's why I'm like, yeah, you're not going to, it's just funny when they try to, I guess, like, change my opinion about something. It's like, fam, you can't change an experience that I had with the game. It ain't a skill issue. It ain't me lacking knowledge of whatever people be, like, all the different stuff that people be trying to come up with. You can't tell me the experience that I had with the game. If I had a bad experience with the game, I had a bad experience with the game. You can't convince me otherwise. So it's just, to me, when they try doing that, and I'm like, okay, well, why is it that if this game is this great all time, you know, oh, it's the best space simulator out there and stuff, why am I playing more of other space simulator games than X4 Foundations? One would think that I would be playing the best one on the market. No, X4 Foundations is not the best game, space simulator or space sim, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing, but it's not the best space game on the market. So where do we go from there? Because I feel like there would be a lot of people that will argue and say, yeah, I had a better. And what's so crazy is that I remember that I was kind of going through this this like binge of watching the different like bunch of different creators and stuff, and just kind of like just seeing how they play like No Man's Sky and Star Citizen. Those were the two that I mainly seen because Elite Dangerous has been out for some time, and X4 Foundations, I would say that it's probably. That's the last, I'd have to say, probably out of all the games that I had, the Space Sims that I mentioned, that X4 Foundation, that was the last Space Sim to come out, because I believe Elite Dangerous, that came out in, I think it was 2015, and then Star Citizen came out before that. No Man's Sky came out in 2016, and X4 Foundations came out in 2018. So you would think, okay, when those games was coming out, Elite Dangerous didn't even have the stuff that it has today. They didn't have like no areas that you can walk around, planets that you can walk around, and they just had it where you was just pretty much flying and stuff, And then Star Citizen, that game's been a buggy mess since day one. No Man's Sky, same situation, a buggy mess. So you would think that, all right, with X4 Foundations, I would say that, X4 Foundations didn't have no bugs. It seemed like that they had like their, no pun intended, but they had their foundation with the game there. What I'm trying to piece together is, why did you guys add so much stuff in that game to where every time when you play it, you are going to have to replay the tutorials? Because it's like, if you're somebody like me, where you have more than 1,000 games and like pretty much on you and stuff from PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Nintendo Switch, I'm supposed to, I guess, if I take some time away, so because my thing is this, I have to say that this year is probably going to be the biggest year for gaming since, I'm trying to think, maybe, 2013 when Grand Theft Auto 5 was coming out, But overall, though, all the different games, like, let me just go over some of the games that I played just on Steam, But the last time I think I had played X4 Foundation, it was some time ago, but overall, I've been playing this game called Bellwright, and then Skate just came out. I've recently got back into Destiny 2. There's this one game that came out last year called Daemon X Machina Titanic's Scion. I think that's the name of it. Been playing a lot of that. Been playing a lot of Street Fighter 6. There's this other space game called Jump Space. I've been playing a lot of that. There's this like this ship simulator game called Seafarer. Been playing a lot of that. Same with this other ship-based game called Skull and Bones. Got back into Cyberpunk 2077. There's this parkour game called Star Parkour Pro. I think that's how you pronounce that. But anyways, then there's the other game, Where Winds Meet. This zombie game called Vane. What else? Borderlands 4. Played a little bit of that. Was playing a little bit of God of War. This tactical shooter game called Dagger Directive. What else? The Last of Us Part 2, Schedule 1, Enzoy, Assassin's Creed Shadows. What are some other games? And that's just on Steam. And then that's just the games that I have downloaded. There ain't no telling that. Then it's like the games that I had to, like pretty much, sell or uninstall and things. But I play a lot of different games. It ain't like I'm just gonna dedicate my time and attention to one game when there's 100 million games coming out, every year? Maybe 100 million is too much, but realistically, there's probably a decent, like 50 to 100 games coming out every year. And that goes from indie games to like mid-range games to the AAA title games to, it's like, and you got where them indie games where it'd be like them small little, like, Supermarket Simulator or Peak. Or what are some other, games like that, to the mid-range games like Arc Raiders, Helldivers. What are some other games? Then the AAA titles where it might be like Call of Duty and Battlefield. I'm supposed to somehow, some way remember all of the different controls in X4 Foundation. And my thing is this, why would it be a problem if they were to add a in-game tutorial? So instead of having it where I'm playing through the tutorials over and over and over again, it just tells me this is how you start up your ship by pressing this button, fly in this direction, do this, do that. I remember the last time I really was sitting down and putting time and energy into X4 Foundations, they wanted me to travel to this area. Okay. I ain't never been to this area before, so I think it would be best if they were to give me kind of a little bit of guidance on how to get to this area. They didn't do that. And what trips me out, and that in Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, and No Man's Sky, I never had an issue with traveling in that game. Never. So what I'm trying to piece together is, why is it that X4 Foundation wants to be all different and all this other stuff? And what trips me out is that when people, when they say that they're making a space simulator and all that stuff, have you traveled to space? Have you flown a spaceship from planet to planet? Have you flown from space station to space station? Because if not, how can you make an authentic simulator or make a video game claiming it's an authentic simulator when you ain't never even... Now, it will make sense when they make a racing simulator, a football simulator, a military simulator, because that's jobs that we can actually do. I ain't never been to space, so I don't know what it feels like to travel to space or travel to planet to planet or travel from a space station to a space station. But my thing is this: if Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, and Star Citizen, they're like, hey, we know that you ain't never traveled from planet to planet, so we gonna just have like an in-game reminder on how to travel, or we're not gonna make it mad difficult. It's just press this button, press that button. That's it. That's all you gotta do. X4 Foundations, on the other hand, it feels like I'm building a ship and then also trying to fly it somewhere. But it's just the amount of button pressing, and then but no, even just with the traveling part, it's like with the amount of time and energy it takes out of you just to travel somewhere. So they wanted me to travel to, I think it was like another part of the galaxy or something like that. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, not so much fast travel, but well, no, yeah, actually, no. It to me, it seemed like it would have made more sense to have it set up that way, because I ain't never been there before. So my thing is this: to have it set up where you have to like fly there and not use fast travel, or not even so much as like fast travel, but like a guidance system. Because I know with like No Man's Sky, they'll have it set up where it's like if you gotta travel to a different galaxy or a different area in the game and stuff, they have it set up where it's like, okay, so all you just gotta do is press this button, press that button, you're there. X4 Foundations wasn't set up like that. It's like, I can't even begin to explain how traveling was set up in that game, but it was a lot more difficult than the other space simulators that I played. Even with Jump Space, I'll have to say that's kind of like one of them like mid-range games. Like, I wouldn't really call it an indie game, because it's pretty, to me, it's pretty detailed to be considered an indie game, but I guess some people may overall call it an indie game. But overall, though, traveling wasn't difficult in that. Traveling wasn't difficult in any other. X4 Foundations is the only game where I had issues traveling in there. Then when they wanted me to go do the mission, they didn't even explain how to do the mission. I don't know whether I was spying or whether I was supposed to take out somebody, but overall, I remember I was flying. I think I was supposed to be spying on some people. I fly away. They track me down, shoot and kill me, blow me up, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why would somebody want this experience? When it's like with Star Citizen, I never had that experience. Yeah, they had it where I had to like track down people, shoot and kill them and stuff. But my thing is this: what does the NPC gain? That's one thing that I always say when a video game, when they want to have this crazy difficulty and have it set up where you are getting killed by the NPCs left and right. What does the NPC gain from killing me? They didn't buy the game. I bought the game. So I should be killing them. I should be the one being able to explore the story. What story are they going to explore? Because when I turn the game off, what are they doing? What are they doing when I turn the game off? At least I know what I'm doing. I'm probably focused on another game or doing something. But it's like when I turn that game back on, that's when they have the... But my thing is, the point that I'm trying to make is that there's no reason to have it where the game is crazy difficult. Like, that's the one thing that I never understood with X4 Foundation, is that game was crazy difficult for no reason. So that's one thing, and that's what I was saying about, like, people, when I was like, there was a time where I was just kind of, like, binge watching streamers. I've seen streamers play No Man's Sky, I've seen streamers play Star Citizen, and I feel like the times where I have mentioned X4 Foundations to these streamers, they don't know what I'm talking about. So that overall tells me that X4 Foundations, if I'm playing this game and it's this crazy experience, and then and that's one thing that I should just put to the test. I'm like, have it where there's friends of mine that play X4 Foundation. I don't think I would gift them the game, but just try to figure out some way somehow. Because no, actually, I think that game is like Steam Deck verified. So that's why I should. Hold on for a second. Let me see real quick. X4 Foundation. Is this game Steam Deck verified? And it's crazy because the recent reviews right now is mixed. And I remember a while back it was like at mostly positive or something like that. So where are they doing now to this game to where it's at a mixed rating? But it is Steam Deck verified. So I think that is one thing that I will put to the test. Just probably do like a series on YouTube where I have people play certain video games. Because I'm the one that be out in my friend group, and even just with my friend group, I don't hear people talking about about games like that. I feel like I've seen people play No Man's Sky when it comes to my friend group. But X4 Foundation, I think, hold on for a second. Let me see if there's any friends that owns this game. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of friends, but I feel like for the most part, I see at times, yeah, no, there's no friends of mine that own this game, talked on this game, reviewed this game, got this game wish list, none of that stuff. And I don't think that has anything to do with the game. And you know what? Hold on for a second. Let me just see real quick the player count for X4 Foundations, comparing it to the other games. So, Elite, Dangerous, Steam player, no, wait a minute. Steam player counts. And then Star Citizen. Yeah, that's not on. So let's just do No Man's Sky. Steam player count. Yeah, because I found at one point in time, I was dumping hours. I was playing No Man's Sky left and right. Same with Elite Dangerous. I remember I was playing this game for a little bit. X4 Foundation is the one game where I'm like, I don't even understand the concept. Okay, so actually it's doing slightly better than Elite Dangerous. X4 Foundation's 5,907 people are playing the game. And then 5,856 people are playing it right now. Not that much of a difference, but with No Man's Sky, 15,000 people are playing this game right now. And X4 Foundations with an all-time peak 7.1 years ago, so I think when the game had released, 15,000 people had played the game. And then they had an all-time peak in No Man's Sky with 212,000 people. So people are you, my thing is this, are you really going to try to sit down and explain to me that X4 Foundation is a better game than No Man's Sky? Because if so, then you tell that to the 7,000 people that are playing that game, because hold on for no 15 no the 10,000 people that are playing the game then rather than playing X4 Foundation. But overall, though, it's like, yeah, you can't convince me that X4 Foundation is a better game. Because, no, people have tried to do that. They've tried to argue with me. They tried to, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, fam. I have been playing video games since I was probably maybe 1 or 2 years old. I probably out the womb, I had a video. They put a video. The first thing that probably ever touched my hand besides toys was probably a video game controller. So when people be trying to tell me, I'm like, I done played in multiple different generations of video games, probably every generation since 96. So what came out, like the Nintendo 64, I played just about everything since then. And the funny thing is that people, they try to tell me that I don't know nothing about gaming because of this one take that I have on X4 Foundations. And I'm like, fam, what do you think is more likely, the gaming world knowing about X4 Foundations, or me, I guess, having a bad experience with the game? Because I feel like that there will probably, because if you sit down, hold on for a second, let's go back to X4. So they had 15,000 people playing this game 10 years ago. What happened to the other 10,000 people? So and that's and they had a 5,000, almost 6,000 player in a 24-hour peak. So what happened to the 9 to 10,000 people that just pretty much stopped playing the game? Because I would imagine that it's either one of those things where they've had the same experience as I did, or they found a game that plays a lot better and you're not having to go through an extensive tutorial, from the in-game tutorial to watching tutorials on YouTube. Yeah, I think with Elite Dangerous, it was one of those games where I kind of just figured things out. No Man's Sky pretty much guided you throughout the whole game, because I think I'm at the end of the game, but I think I was having issues with it, but I think I figured it out now. I am gonna probably end up reinstalling. Matter of fact, hold on for a second, let me go ahead and reinstall No Man's Sky on my PC. But overall, though, it's and then when you look at some of the other games, you see that let's just check Jump Space, since I can't find the Star Citizen. Let's just check Jump Space Steam player count. Okay, they don't actually have that. Oh, actually, you know what? No, they don't have a whole lot of players right now, because I think people are just kind of trying to see and wait what's going to be going on with that game. But they even had a higher all-time peak with the game when it came out 4 months ago compared to X4 Foundation. So X4 Foundation had 15,000 people. Jump Space had 22,000 people. So my thing is this: what's going on with X4 Foundation to where it's like you can't have a higher player base count when it comes to the all-time peak. You can't have the same gameplay as other people in their video games. So what's wrong with X4 Foundation? Why is it that when people play this game, they're either giving up on it or they're playing another game because those games are or in that whoever that person is, in their words, it's a lot more funner. What's wrong with X4 Foundation? So that's why I'm like, when people try to have this argument with me with X4 Foundation, yes, if you are a fan of the game, I'm not trying to take that away from you. But if there are people that are looking into buying X4 Foundation and they're asking me, I'm going to keep it a buck with them. It is not a good game. You are going to find yourself watching a bunch of different YouTube tutorials, playing the tutorial in the game multiple times, and then probably putting a little bit of time into the like multiple stories that they have in the game versus just sitting down and playing the game and having fun. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, throughout the years of me playing video games, and I done played so many different types of video games, from racing games, military games, sci-fi games, simulations, what else? RPG games. I'm trying to think what else have I done played so many different genres of video games, and yeah, games where I'm playing them for the first time, like the one video game, Bellwright. It's like a medieval game. I don't know nothing about medieval games, but the thing is this though, I'm not having to go through tutorials and see how I'm like, no, they pretty much explain everything in the game right then and there. So it's like, oh, you just got, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you're playing that game and then they're like, hey, you gotta go and find, like, I think that was one of the things that they wanted me to do is find garlic. Okay, I'll go find me some garlic. I didn't even know where garlic was. I'm over here thinking you having to buy it. Eventually, I think by just kind of playing the game and doing other missions, I eventually figured it out is that, or no, I think it's shown on there. Well, no, yeah, I was doing that, just playing the game, and I've seen it, that there was, like, garlic is grown in this area across the map. Oh, okay, cool. All I just gotta do is just travel to that area, get garlic, and I'm chilling. I'm good. Why is it that in X4 Foundation they can't have no stuff like that? I mean, yeah, even though it's two different games, but why do they need to have it set up where when you're playing that game, you have to constantly exit out, play the tutorial to figure out some things, go back, and it's like, bro, people ain't trying to do all that. And then even I think they do have like a shipbuilder mode. I don't know exactly how it plays out. I think I did try to, or no, I think it's a space station builder. It's something like that. But I remember when No Man's Sky, when they came out with their shipbuilder mode, and or yeah, you built like Corvette ships and stuff like that. They have it set up where it was this crazy difficult experience. I had to say that was probably the easy experience I had, and I was at one point in time I wasn't even really playing the game for the story and things. I was just going in there just building a bunch of different ships. And I guarantee and I promise you, if I go back and start playing this game, it ain't gonna be no stuff where I'm like, dang, how do I do this again? How do I do that? Because I played that much of the game, but on top of that, they don't have it where it's this crazy difficult setup. And if I need to, fam, I'll just start the game all over. That I don't mind, because the game is actually pretty good. From the story, from the gameplay, all that stuff, the different planets that you can explore. And people gonna really try to sit down and explain to me that X4 Foundation is better than No Man's Sky. How? How is that? And hey, even if we're mentioning the other games, Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen, how is Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen worse than X4 Foundation? Because at least with Elite Dangerous, they have it where you can explore planets or moons and stuff like that. Do these missions where it ain't no like crazy difficult process on doing the missions and stuff. But it's like they have it where it's like it's a space simulation. You know, where it's like you're doing all these different things and stuff. And then with Star Citizen, same business. It's a space simulation. They got you doing all these different things. You know, and I think that, yeah, once when that game is a little bit more polished and it's, you know, like a little bit more developed and all that stuff, I think that that can be one of the biggest video games of all time. And then it's like with X4 Foundation, it's like that game is still going to be stuck in the same vortex of the very few fans there defending it on the internet and then having it where there ain't no real goals with that game. I feel like that even the developers themselves didn't even know what they wanted to do with that game. But one thing for sure is people are not going to do is try to convince me that it's a better game than the games that I mentioned. You can even find the worst space simulator out there. You will have a better experience with that game than X4 Foundation. So before you jump in my comment sections trying to defend X4 Foundations and all that other stuff, sit down and think about it, all right? Like, really, sit down and think about this. Why is it that I managed to sit down, do this whole podcast episode, show all this passion about why I personally believe that X4 Foundation is not a better game, and then there are thousands of people that at one point in time played this game, and they're not playing it no more. What's up with that? So, anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow or subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.